Hello everyone, welcome to the NetEase Gold Series Hearthstone Finals. This is a best of 7 between xyuan and RuoJi. Now both players having banned each other's hunter class, and looks like we have a mirror match as far as the classes go. The free classes picked. Both players now playing rogue as well. So let's take a quick look at how this game is going. By the way, the winner of this tournament will be going home with a cash prize of 170,000 Chinese yuan, and that equates to about 27,000 US dollars. Or the winner can pick that solid gold Hearthstone statue that you have just seen on stream. The loser, however, will be walking home with 50,000 Chinese yuan, which equates to about $8,000. So it's quite the difference, winning about 3 times as much or even more prize money than the runner-up of this tournament. So kind of a big deal. Again, this is a best of 7, so I think that you get to revive one class if you lost with that one already and lose with another one. So we're gonna see how this one turns out. Both players not running the best of hands right now, or not the most playable hands at the very least. So RuoJi does have double deadly poison in his hand, and is that a Leroy Jenkins I see in xyuan's hand? Yes, I do. So RuoJi probably going to coin for the Violet Teacher here, is going to follow up with that one. And does xyuan have anything to get rid of that? Yes, he does have a Shiv into a deadly weapon, or backstab, also a very real possibility, but I would assume that he would still play that deadly weapon card. So it seems like xyuan did draw a card of that one, and is the sap. So, but again, not too much that he can do right now, and RuoJi is the one with the Violet Teacher on the field at first, so xyuan using that sap, preventing RuoJi from getting any Violet Apprentices for free. So RuoJi has to be playing that Violet Teacher again if he wants to get anything out of that one. So essentially xyuan wasted a turn from RuoJi there, and wasted his coin as well. Now xyuan draws into his own Violet Teacher, but is instead gonna backstab for the 2 damage and equip his Assassin's Blade there and attack into that one. I'm really surprised he didn't actually use the deadly poison, but perhaps he wants to save that for his Assassin's Blade and bumping the damage up from that one. Prince Galliwix being drawn by RuoJi. And let's take a quick look at what he can do right now. Realistically, only thing he can do right now is play his own Violet Teacher, but it will fall next turn with that deadly poison on xyuan's hand right now. And that will buff the weapon up, of course, so at least RuoJi will get a Violet Apprentice from that one. Now xyuan has the capability of playing his own Violet Teacher and bumping up his weapon to 5 free, but instead goes for a different route here. Goes to attack and then play the low effect, preventing RuoJi from playing most of his spells. Has a Shiv for 5 mana and a deadly, or a backstab for 5 mana and a deadly poison for 6 mana, so can't really combo off of anything unless he plays that Blood Mage Dalmas. So RuoJi is gonna get out that Prince Galliwix, and now xyuan thinking about how he has to deal with that one. 5th card in his hand is a SI7 agent. Violet Teacher being dropped, as well as the SI7 agent. Combo damage will take care of that Violet Apprentice, and seems like xyuan is going to do his best to ignore that Galliwix. Of course, he has all the damage on the board. Another backstab now being drawn by RuoJi. That Trade Prince Galliwix does make sure that Xiaoyan doesn't really get into his last game state here, because every time that Xiaoyan plays a spell, then of course RuoJi will get a copy of that one. So unless Xiaoyan actually has lethal on the field, he probably is playing very hesitantly around that Trade Prince Gallywix, and it kind of allows RuoJi to play his own game until Xiaoyan draws his own one. I'm not too sure if he does play that Trade Prince Gallywix. So Phantom Eyes being used, and pretty much everything on the field now being wiped out for Xiaoyan. So now, taking a quick look, I think that at the most, Xiaoyan has 15 damage on the board, because Eviscerate and Leroy Jenkins would be about 10, and his weapon would be another 5. So playing it very conservatively, playing that anti-Q-bot, healing himself up back to 25. And next turn, if RuoJi doesn't bring out a Taunter or anything like that, then Xiaoyan will have the possibility to make game here. SI7 Agent and Loafeb being played, but Loafeb now puts a wrench in the plans of Xiaoyan to make game next turn, so RuoJi's Loafeb coming out in just the right time. Eviscerate now being 7 damage means that he can't really do too much. Now, Xiaoyan getting rid of that minion, and Sludge Belcher for RuoJi is gonna be tremendous for him, because if he plays that, that ensures that he doesn't die to anything lethal next turn. That'll be a huge boon to him. Trade Prince Gallywix also helping out. 8 damage landing on him, and I assume the one from the dagger as well, but I'm not too sure about that, how he wants to play this out. So it's going to refresh his weapon and then Deadly Poison it for the free damage. Now Xiaoyan suddenly at 8 damage, despite playing really carefully around that Trade Prince Gallywix. RuoJi has just been top decking really well and playing out his combo pretty well as well. So RuoJi, now seeing that Xiaoyan plays a sprint, gains a lot of coins, gets a coin from that one. So RuoJi trying to get game here somehow, and if only Xiaoyan had pulled a sap, then he could have potentially made game here with the preparation in his hand, but he's counting his cards here. Has essentially 5 mana in hand. So coin is first going to be used, and a second coin is going to be used. Or excuse me, Gallywix giving another coin. Preparation going to be the copied card. Another card being drawn. Eviscerate being used onto that Sludge Belcher, and it will fall because of that Azure Drake, but that slime still remaining. Another card being used there. And the backstab will make sure that slime falls as well. Prepares for another play here. 4 coins now in Xiaoyan's hand, but Xiaoyan knows he couldn't have made it out there alive. RuoJi winning game 1 in this best of 7. So welcome back to game 2 of this best of 7 in the NetEase Gold Series Hearthstone final. RuoJi still playing his rogue, and Xiaoyan now forced on his Paladin, his rogue already being eliminated, so he can't pick it next turn. You can't pick it next game if he loses this one. I'm not too sure, but because I wasn't really told the rulings. But anyways, this is a best of 7, so Sheila Minibot coming out for Xiaoyan for the first turn. And it is indeed solid gold, as the chat is kind of doubting. It is, let me take a quick look right here, a 600 gram pure golden heartstone statue. it says. So second shield mini bot coming out for Xyuan. And probably gonna do nothing of interest here, as the divine shield had to be popped. Equips the dagger, and maybe he's gonna use deadly poison for next turn, but probably he wants to save that for his combo next turn, but is gonna use it right now. Now back to Xyuan, who's sitting at 4 mana. Nothing really that he can play here, so it's just gonna reinforce an attack. And I did say 600 gram, so let me take a quick conversion rate for the Americans in chat. So for those in chat that use the other system, it's a 1.3 pound solid gold Hearthstone statue. So Lofeb now coming out for RuoJi. It's going to block out a lot of spells from Xyuan, and Xyuan's pretty much forced to play that Sludge Belcher at this point, unless he wants to bust out the Elder Peacekeeper to negate that Lofeb's 5 attack and turn it into 1, but it seems like he's going for that. Not setting up defensively, playing on the aggressive side here, because he might be afraid that his Sludge Belcher would get sapped or anything like that, so that's why he's playing these low value minions, I guess. And now back to Xyuan, who has drawn a muster for battle, but doesn't have a quartermaster in his hand just yet. I think this is the first time I've seen the gold muster for battle. And the crowd is waiting in anticipation because RuoJi has the answer in the form of the Fan of Knives in his hand. So Quality is going to be playing. Is he going to consecrate? No, he's not. It's just going to use that one lone silver hand recruit and the Light's Justice to bring everything down. So still it remains with the consecrate in hand, and wouldn't be too surprised to see RuoJi now play that Fan of Knives to just clear out the board, because definitely at this point in the game, getting a quartermaster would be fairly hard to deal with. So RuoJi, wanting nothing of that, going to clear out the board, and there's the Gallywix for him. SI7 agent going to be used for the damage instead of more utility to get rid of minions. So Sludge Belcher finally coming out for Xyuan. And it seems like RuoJi is only sitting at 17 health right now. Finally has a Vital Teacher in hand. I'm not too sure if he's actually going to sap that Sludge Belcher. So one thing that RuoJi could actually do right now is play to Harrison Jones to draw the cards, in which he is doing right now. Gets his own Sludge Belcher and has 2 mana left to sap that Sludge Belcher away. Playing it out just as expected. Now back to Xyuan, who gets that extra card in his hand because his Sludge Belcher was sapped. Is just going to play it again. And the Coghammer will make sure that it gets a Divine Shield too, but I think that RuoJi has the answer in his hand. Another Sludge Belcher now on the field, or in his hand. Vital Teacher being dropped there. And applause on the field as Xyuan's weapon and Sludge Belcher are destroyed. Great combo play there by RuoJi, who's now suddenly sitting on an empty field and not the most useful cards in hand right now. Quartermaster, Consecration, MC Tech, and Big Game Hunter has to equip that True Silver Champion. Harrison Jones falling, but Xyuan is only sitting at 21 health right now, and RuoJi can't finish him off this turn, but he definitely can set up his board quite properly now. He's hovering over that trade Prince Gallywix, and that's going to put Xiaoyan in an even stickier situation because of all those Paladin cards that are so useful, giving Divine Shields, wiping the board, giving weapons like Tyrian Fordring. Of course, Gallywix. Of course, Gallywix only applying on spells, but still, Equality Consecration, quite the good spells to copy. Even Muster for Battle might be good hard to copy. Now, one dagger landing into that Violet Apprentice, or Violet Teacher, and RuoJi really has to set up his defenses at this point, unless he feels that he might have game. Let's take a quick look if he has. So has 9 damage on the board, 10 with the dagger in his hand, and then 4 more if he uses that Eviscerate. So RuoJi gonna set up his defenses as expected with that Sludge Belcher. No response from Xiaoyan in his hand. Unless he draws another Equality, and then that's not gonna work out too well for him. RuoJi just playing this very carefully though. Eviscerate, getting rid of that minion, and board again wiped out for Xiaoyan. And what is Xiaoyan gonna pull out? It has to be an Equality, otherwise he has to play the MC Tech and hope that he gets Gallywix. And it is gonna be the Sludge Belcher which he stole away, which is probably one of the best he could have gotten. Realistically had a 40% chance of stealing away a good minion, either Gallywix or Sludge Belcher, and it did turn out properly for him. So now RuoJi faces his own minion, but he has an Iron Beak Owl in his hand to silence that. More reinforcements coming in, and Defender of Argus now coming out. So there is Xiaoyan returning with a very strong board. They're out of nothing, and it seems like RuoJi might be looking to prepare for a sprint here. And if he draws Assassin's Blade, then Blade Fury is definitely a helpful card here. Ragnaros the Fire Lord, haven't seen that one in an entire tournament, but makes his appearance in the final matchup here. Iron Beak Owl going to be used on that Sludge Belcher, I feel, but is backing out on it. I think that he really doesn't have any other options but to clear that one out with the Iron Beak Owl. And he has Gallywix and a Violet Teacher and an Apprentice to get rid of most things on the board. Actually, if he uses that Eviscerate, then the board will be cleared yet again if he uses that Gallywix. So RuoJi again clearing out the board, and now it is Xiaoyan who is facing off Gallywix and Iron Beak Owl and triple Violet Apprentices. But Xiaoyan does have a Consecrate available for himself, so clearing out the board yet again, but he does give a copy of Consecrate to RuoJi though. And Black Knight coming in, but a turn too early, I feel, as RuoJi does have a Sludge Belcher available for his defensive setup. So RuoJi again playing on the defensive here. Sludge Belcher and Urban Ring Farseer to heal himself up. And that Black Knight, as I said, a little bit too early. Xiaoyan has a coin, big game hunter, and what's the third card going to be? Didn't even see it because he selected it so quickly. Piloted Shredder now coming out, and all RuoJi has to do is do 14 damage. So when this game has 6 on the field and 1 in hand, Ragnar as the Fire Lord might be an option here. If RuoJi feels lucky, he can attack into xyuan, and then it's a 25% chance of outright winning the game, but he's playing this so carefully and well thought as well, using the backstab to make sure everything dies on the field, and a one free taunter drops on the field, but RuoJi doesn't even care, attacks straight into it, and RuoJi knows that xyuan, one of the cards in his hand, is a coin, but what are the other two? RuoJi does not know he has a big game hunter, but here comes Harrison Jones, and this has to be a good top deck for xyuan. What's it going to be? Guardian of Kings, but xyuan, knowing that he can't play that. Welcome back, everyone, to Game 3 of the NetEase Gold Series Hearthstone Finals. This is Game 3 between xyuan and RuoJi. And wow, would you look at that Warlock hand from RuoJi, but then, or from xyuan, but then again, RuoJi not with the worst cards in the world as well. So RuoJi already being 2 games up on this best of 7. The winner of this match will win 170,000 Chinese yuan, which equates to about 27,000 US dollars, or that solid gold Hearthstone statue which you have just sung. So xyuan already taking 6 damage from the double flame imp coming in, but RuoJi can't do a whole lot. Just backstabbing one of the imps and eviscerating the second would be a huge boon to him. Of course, it would be a little less helpful to set up his board, but getting rid of those flame imps would of course be beneficial, preventing any damage from coming in. So it seems like RuoJi has just equipped his weapon, allowing himself to take the damage from that one. And backstab SI7 agent is going to be the play. So RuoJi knowingly taking some damage as he wants to make a little bit of a better optimal play the next turn. Now that power overwhelming though will guarantee xyuan that 4/4 Nerubian though, but RuoJi does have another answer, another SI7 agent being put in his hand. So what RuoJi can do right now is he can use that deadly poison and then eviscerate the Nerubian, and xyuan would be left with only 2 cards in his hand. So it's going to use the poison and attack. So he's going to save that eviscerate. I think that RuoJi wants to save those eviscerate for a potential lethal combo. They're wanting to do 8 damage in one go to xyuan. And here comes the implosion. How much damage is it going to do? It's going to do 4 damage! 4 imps landing onto xyuan's field. And now RuoJi wishes he had a fan of knives there. So all he can really do is play that Urban Ring Farseer and hope that he can draw something useful next turn. And RuoJi not too happy seeing the board of xyuan right now. Has to attack, and as expected did play Urban Ring Farseer, so now bumped back up to 21 health, and but xyuan definitely with the momentum here after all those imps coming on the field. I'm kind of wondering what xyuan is going to do right now. So life tap and gets a Doom Guard, so has a the card needed to do a lot of damage, and for the finisher, is the Sergeant gonna get rid of that Earthring Farce here, and RuoJi gonna take another 3 damage. Now, xyuan, anti-heal bot, so more stall coming out for him. Will be able to buff him back up to respectable levels. Abusive Sergeant going down, takes 2 damage, but doesn't seem to care too much. Now sitting at 24. And Defender of Argus now coming in. RuoJi probably wanting, or xyuan probably wanting those Spectral or Haunted Creepers to be next to each other at this point. Doomguard coming out, discarding the Defender of Argus though. Feels like it isn't necessary at this point. xyuan just going straight up for the aggression here. And now he finally draws that Fan of Knives. Maybe a little bit too late though, as it will only get rid of the Clockwork Gnome and the 2 imps there, but he can't combo into the Eviscerates right now to get rid of the Doomguard at the very least. So life tap again coming in, the Nerubian Egg. Taunting up that Nerubian Egg as well. 2 damage again landing, and RuoJi can get some card momentum back here, but Enhanced Meccano still in xyuan's hand. Now xyuan has 3 Death Rattle minions on the field, and RuoJi doesn't really have anything to get rid of that one. Blood Mage Thalmas coming out, and Big Game Hunter, if he plays that, that would be a huge tell towards xyuan though, knowing that RuoJi doesn't have a lot left in his hand. Sapping the egg, as Twitch chat has already called out. Now back to xyuan. Probably going to play that Enhanced Meccano after tapping. I'm not too sure what the card was he has just drawn. Ironbeak Owl, negating that spell damage and the card draw. Kind of huge. Nerubian Egg and 4 mana left for the Enhanced Meccano. What is it going to be? Wind Fury for the Nerubian Egg, a Divine Shield and a Taunt for the Haunted Creepers, and another Wind Fury for the Ironbeak Owl. And now Loafeb for RuoJi, but RuoJi doesn't really benefit from that one a whole bunch. Still, he's sitting at a relatively comfortable spot, knowing that he's still sitting at 17 mana though. Gets rid of that Wind Fury minion, and he's wondering whether he wants to use the Eviscerate on the Enhanced Meccano, but here's the thing, even though he's sitting at 15 health right now and sitting on a Loafeb, xyuan can still draw cards with his life tap, so he will draw cards at an accelerated rate as opposed to xyuan, or as opposed to RuoJi. So RuoJi now with the Doomguard coming in after the Undertaker. A lot of damage gonna land onto xyuan, or onto RuoJi, excuse me, at this point. Nah, Azure Drake drawing a card, and here comes the Sludge Belcher being just in time here. RuoJi managing to get up his defenses and get the big minions out, and now xyuan doesn't really have... I think he already used one of his Doomguards though, only has the one on the field. Loafeb being used to attack into that Undertaker, not into the Doomguard. Now, card drawn. Clockwork Gnome, and now Loafeb for him, so now having his own Loafeb on the field. pretty much, I think, the strongest minion in Xiaoyan's deck right now, because I don't think he plays Golem. And here comes Ragnaros, the Fire Lord. So now we're really into RNG land. Ragnaros the Fire Lord, first time it is played in this entire tournament. Definitely not as popular in the Western world as it is in China, or definitely not as popular in China as it is the Western world. Excuse me. And it's kind of wondering what is the most effective way for me to play this, as I can imagine he doesn't want to get rid of that Haunted Creeper, as it would give more targets for Ragnaros. Ideally, he would want to take out the Doomguard, the Loapheb, or the Nerubian that spawns from that Nerubian egg. So if I were RuoJi right now, I'd probably attack into that Clockwork Gnome and attack into that Nerubian egg and hope the Nerubian will spawn. But then again, he is only sitting at 7 health, so it looks like he's going for the risky play here. 1/4 chance of winning this game. Ragnaros the Fire Lord, which is going to target. The crowd goes wild, but it's not going to be RuoJi. It's going to be hitting the Loapheb. And what is Xiaoyan going to draw? Dark Iron Dwarf. Taps for a card. 7 health remaining. But I don't think that is going to be enough, as Xiaoyan can't get rid of both the Loapheb and the Ragnaros the Fire Lord in this turn. Dark Iron Dwarf coming in, hitting directly for face, as it did have Wind Fury, and attacks the Loapheb. Dark Iron Dwarf coming out as well. And the switch being used to flip Ragnar or flip Loapheb's values there. Deadly Poison being the last card for RuoJi. And RuoJi can't play that, but in the end has to rely on Ragnaros' luck. Looking in the end, 25% chance of winning this. Ragnaros the Fire Lord missing, hitting the Dark Iron Dwarf. RuoJi conceding, and Xiaoyan winning game 3 and his first game in this. Welcome back to game 4 between RuoJi and Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan being on your left, RuoJi being on your right. Xiaoyan winning his Warlock game after extremely clutch Ragnaros play from RuoJi, missing twice for lethal, not hitting its target. And now RuoJi forced on Paladin. So RuoJi only 2 games or 2 victories away from winning the grand prize, which is 170,000 Chinese yuan, which equates to about 27,000 US dollars. Knife Juggler landing its knife into the Clockwork Gnome, but in the end, RuoJi had to trade equally, and now it's Xiaoyan with that one. Revolving Switch being used to buff up that Knife Juggler's health a little bit. It was a good play by Xiaoyan, because it forces an attack out from that Silver Guardian to make sure that it doesn't die to consecrate flat right. Our Peacekeeper now coming out would decrease the attack of the knife juggler to 1. Though I assume that RuoJi just did that to bring a minion out over anything. Enhanced Meccano being used, Divine Shield being given to the knife juggler. Probably the better one. I don't think that Wind Fury would have benefited him or Taunt would have benefited him at all. So now RuoJi, who is sitting on a lot of cards in his hand, but nothing really to play concretely except for that Piloted Shredder, I feel. Low Feb now being played, and pretty much the only card being affected in RuoJi's hand, that Consecration, but I don't think that he would want to play that at this point anyway, considering that the Divine Shield is still on that knife juggler. So I guess Sludge Belcher would be a good choice, if anything, on RuoJi's hand, just to set up defenses. And yes, this is indeed a best of 7. And not a best of 5, so I would assume that once Xiaoyan's Warlock is defeated, he has to play Rogue again. Ironbeak Owl used pretty effectively, but too nice landing, not in the proper targets. That one still having, but double knives, where are they gonna land? Are they gonna land into the Piloted Shredder? Yes, they are. RuoJi not too happy about that. He's forced to play the Consecrate, but that will wipe out the entire field except for that one knife juggler. And RuoJi definitely with the momentum in this game here. Xiaoyan has to keep drawing cards here, but is not going to tap in favor of a Doomguard here. Knife Juggler still standing, but RuoJi kind of losing the momentum now. Has to set up his defenses yet again. That Doomguard play and a draw from Xiaoyan being very effective here. Ironbeak Owl decides that Marubian to make sure that Xiaoyan doesn't get even more big minions out on the field. I can't really see the health right now because of some production issues, but I think that RuoJi's health is now sitting at 24. Implosion! How much imps is he going to spawn? 3 in total, and that's going to be triple dagger landing. 1 in Ironbeak Owl killing it, and 2 into RuoJi. Abusive Sergeant also going to give 1 there, and RuoJi now only sitting at 13 health. Muster for battle now coming out, but in a little bit of a desperation move here, I assume that he would taunt with his remaining 4 mana, bring out that Defender of Argus. And oh, are we flipping stuff right now? Come on, Chinese feed, don't you do this on me. Just keep it like it is. Quartermaster now coming out, setting up a more defensive board here, but only 12 damage that Xiaoyan has to do, and that is enough with the Dark Iron Dwarf coming in, so that's going to be 9 in total with the Doomguard and Abusive Sergeant, and the last free hitting from the imps. Xiaoyan equaling it up 2-2. Well, welcome back everyone to the NetEase Hearthstone Finals here. This is a best of 7 between RuoJi and Xiaoyan. The winner of this tournament will be taking home 170,000 Chinese yuan, which equates to about 27,000 US dollars, or choice of getting 600 grams or 1.2 pound Hearthstone statue. Double Undertaker now being on the field here, and another Death Rattle minion being played. So Xiaoyan's Undertaker being a little bit too strong. It seems like it is a Xu versus Xu matchup here. But I don't think that Xiaoyan plays any golems in or giants in his Warlock deck, whereas RuoJi does. So now Xiaoyan has a revolving switch in hand on the Creeper. Actually, seems like Xiaoyan did switch up his deck a little bit to another Warlock deck. So of course you are allowed to switch decks as long as you stick with the same class, if I'm not mistaken. So now it is RuoJi with a pretty strong board here. Has his defenses set up, especially with that Direwolf Alpha buffing up that Voidwalker. Another Undertaker coming out, so I'd assume that Xiaoyan would play that Undertaker followed by the Clockwork Gnome. Now, Xiaoyan playing as expected, but I'm not too sure if he's going to attack with his Hunter Creeper. Both Warlocks sitting at 30 health, which is quite the surprise. Doomguard being pulled out by Xiaoyan, or RuoJi, excuse me, and is probably going to follow it up with that Sea Giant. Of course, he would be risking a big game Hunter from Xiaoyan next turn. So, RuoJi finally making his moves here, picking his target. Playing it very conservatively, only leaving that Undertaker alive. Now back to Xiaoyan. Undertaker is only going to become stronger and stronger at this point. With that Whirling Blades, can even bump him up to a 4/4. Evolving Switch to bring the Direwolf Alpha to a 1/2. Of course, that would make it a little bit more healthier. Power Overwhelming now in RuoJi's hand. Doomguard, Voidwalker, and Power Overwhelming. Would expect at least a tap, because that Doomguard's not going to be played this turn. RuoJi's kind of calculating the damage he has on board this turn, so Undertaker is probably going to fall. But first things first, RuoJi thinking, I need to damage this guy. I'm not too sure if either player plays Lord Jaraxxus in their deck. Of course, I don't have a deck list, unfortunately, so despite no matter what these players might be playing, I've seen some crazy tech choices from all the players here in the entire tournament. Doomguard is going to be played though, so RuoJi on the aggressive here. And xyuan, only with his own Doom Guard to play at this point. And applause from the crowd, as I think that they know that RuoJi has the better position here. Doom Guard being played, brave move there as he discards the Knife Juggler and the Whirling Blades, but what is his target gonna be? As realistically, it's only gonna be the Direwolf Alpha at this point, because the rest will still remain alive. And that is the last card, Doom Guard for RuoJi, but he doesn't even need that one. And passes up turn. I'm actually wondering why he did not play that one, as he did have lethal there, but it does